Riya, thank you for having us here.
You're very
and thank you for trying to emulate my dining with the Kapoor's dining table. With no food on it.
Yes.
We all are starved.
Tell me something really cool and insane that you've done, like flex today.
Food is number one. If you don't have a good product, you're not going to make it in this space.
The love that you put in is what the consumer is going to taste.
It's very important to understand what the consumer wants.
It's very cool to see our culture being represented by us and not by someone else.
I like all this molecular food, all is pretty cute. Like, I'm sure the food is pretty I get damn bloody impatient. I walk into the restaurant.
And another important aspect which needs to be addressed is menu design. That is very important because that is make it, break it.
The concept of multi-cuisine only exists in India because like this 135 item list.
All marketing spends are not sales.
Riya, thank you for having us here.
You're very
and thank you for trying to emulate my dining with the Kapoor's dining table. With no food on it.
Yes.
We all are starved.
We're waiting for you.
Where's the food, man? Why have you brought us here without food?
Welcome to our second episode of OG Talks. We're back here. I'm super excited. I've been working in the food space for the last decade now. I've brought everyone I have worked with over the last decade here with me today. Very excited to have them here. These are the guys who actually make all your Instagram perfect restaurants become what they are, right from the supply chain to the chefs to the marketing, PR, branding. So I'm very excited to introduce everyone. So there's one really big common thread that binds all of us over here, and that's the reason why we're all here. And it's actually not food. Food is, yes, definitely one of them. But everyone over here has kind of carved or placed themselves in a position or in an, created a brand that has not existed before. So I want to just go around the table and give this a few minutes if you need it, but tell me something really cool and insane that you've done, like flex today. So let's have that.
I'll go first because I don't have too much to flex about. I've just started with the food journey. You guys are like pros around me. Spent like 10 years, 15 years, 20 years in this space. I think I'm 35. I spent 35 years in this space, not commercializing it, but I think since I was born, for me, food is flex. I mean, food is life and like every breath I take. So I've just started my venture and business, so I have nothing to flex about now, but I think it's a journey. Yeah, that's it. I mean, I'm not going to say anymore.
You
pros can kind of like talk about the business aspect and all those things, but...
you just took your passion and turned it into a beautiful docu-style Netflix show, which is a big flex in itself. You know, it's one of its kind. I've never seen a show like this before, so...
Absolutely.
Okay, so I mean, I don't see it as a flex. I mean, I it was a great opportunity to kind of put those dreams. I mean, for us actually, food is more than just food itself, right? I mean, food is a catalyst to really bring people together, whether it's your friends, your families. Yeah, it was great to put this together and actually showcase some of my food items from the kitchen as well there. So yeah.
I mean, I relate a lot to that as well because I've come from a home where both my mom and my sister are very, very good cooks. I think my biggest flex is now to tell them about ingredients that they don't know about. And I think I'm winning in that space now, finally. But I think what he's basically saying is true. Like, food is just a memory association. And I think even through the travels, when you talk to a farmer, they're talking about something that they've done for X amount of time or X amount of generations. That's really exciting. And I think that's a good
y'all are generational foodies.
Yeah.
Yeah.
For sure.
I think to add up to what both of them said, I think what you guys have said is bang on because people who are in the medical industry, right? They say that it is their responsibility to treat whoever comes at whatever point of time, right? As a chef or as somebody who's providing food, whether it's a restaurant or anything, it is very important for us to feed the right thing, to cook the right thing, whether it is the simplest food or something, because somebody who's sitting on the other side of the table are vulnerable at the most. It's very important to give a lot of things with love. And I think, as you asked about the flex, right? And I think I've grew up with very strong women in my house. 9 actually. So I have been exposed to the art of feeding when I was 5 years old. So the whole point of even seeing how food is made is therapeutic.
Interesting.
Okay.
Similar. Yeah.
Sorry.
No, I resonate with this completely.
Because, and during COVID,
We're all resonating with.
during COVID, I think I could implement it because I was working with Z at that point of time. Everybody's stuck at home. There is no new content to be put out, right? And we launched a new channel called Z Zest. That's how I actually understood how visually food also can break monotony. खाना खाने को नहीं मिल रहा है, but देखने को मिल रहा है ना, तो बहुत मजा आ रहा है. Sometimes you might just have दाल चावल, but अगर आपको सामने चिकन रेजाला भी दिख गया ना, तो पेट भर जाता है.
Okay. This is like where people are smelling chocolate, eating broccoli.
I mean, isn't that the whole art of hospitality? Like you're eating with all your senses. You're not just eating.
But I think I got my
to eat.
flex after he spoke about the flex is to even feed one person with love. And that's what we've been taught. You feed one customer, you feed one person is a flex, yeah?
Yeah.
You want to feed that person with that much love. So that's actually the flex.
Yeah.
You know, I say this to all my team members who are part of production, who are actually making the ice cream, that you need to understand the love that you put in is what the consumer is going to taste. So when you're making it, there has to be a mindset, and the mood that you're making it is what is going to reflect in the product. And I genuinely believe in that.
So love is the secret.
Love is the secret thing.
Yeah. Zama sourcing some.
But that's scientifically proved also. Yeah. So your food.
I totally believe in it. I believe the energy that you put into that is what is going to. Mia, I think you have one more big flex. The last year was a very crucial one.
It was.
And tell us a little bit about it. I think it should come from you.
It was a big move. I didn't expect it to happen so soon. But I've been looking for someone to kind of team up with and help expand Mimi. And looking, we found Walco Foods. And they are, I think, one of the biggest companies in the country that are distributing ice cream so well. And I think that's something I really needed.
Yeah.
I had product. That's my forte, innovation. But distribution for ice cream is very important. So that happened this year for us. And I'm very excited for what's coming up.
So 5 cities now? 6?
6 cities now. Rest of the country very soon.
Very nice.
Yes,
very
amazing.
I have to add to that we've been working with Meha, and she's super hardworking and she's obsessed with all things ice cream. So I think that the acquisition that happened was in all in due time. It was perfectly timed.
Thank you.
Sugar, I think every meeting and pitch I go for, especially if it's a launch of a new restaurant, and I ask them, okay, who's doing your PR? And there's only one agency doing all of Bombay. So 6 years.
There are many we're not doing, so the fact that you're saying that is making me very happy.
No, I hope you do all of them. But 6 years. See, I've been doing this for 12 years and I don't think I've worked with half as many brands as you have. So that's a very big flex for you.
So I think for us, like we have a different perspective. Obviously, so many people here are in the food making process and we're kind of behind the scenes, where for us, the flex is kind of getting involved with a client from the inception prior to launch, managing the entire experience. So it's not just, of course, I always say that food is number one. If you don't have a good product, you're not going to make it in the space. But apart from the food being number one, because that has a little to do with our control, but the experience, the entire, from the time you walk into the restaurant till the time you leave, we kind of help, and we love to be a part of that process of making that experience for the customer amazing, right? Treat
Do you have
it
a
like
count
that.
of how many you've launched till date, or that's
in the F&B space particularly, we've crossed like 200 to 300 over the last 6 years, but and across cities, not just so across about 6-7 cities.
Yeah. So the back end is really, really crucial as much as the front end. I think, Ankit, how did you get into this?
So it feels like it's the ignored part of the business. Everyone is right now a little bit front facing, but what we do is we try to make sure even those boring parts can be a little bit interesting. We try to provide analytics, we provide those insights, which will help you make your business better in terms of your costs. So when everyone, I think, starting out or even growing, they focus on their sales numbers, but something that kind of get ignored is the costs, all your products, where you're purchasing it from, the supply chain. So in terms of that, we help with kind of streamline everything as well as make sure that things are not going wrong. So you don't have those spikes in costs. And profit is a function of sales and your expenses. So we try to focus on the expenses part.
How did you get into this? Like what got you into, because tech could have been plugged in anywhere.
So it was interesting that basically I come from purely like before, like I did engineering, then went into tech in the US. And after I moved back to India, we saw that basic comfortable with which doesn't lead you to like actually get those insights because everything is done manually, right? So anything that you kind of digitize, you kind of are able to analyze better, right? Like why do you have smartwatches? Because you can count your steps, and that makes you more interested in getting higher step counts to be more fitness appropriate. So same way we are trying to analyze and count everything that is moving, every cost that is incurring, so that you become more
aware.
Yeah.
Yes, exactly.
Because when I started this, it was more about product and ice cream. But when you get into the business aspect, I had that call with Ankit and Jay. It was like, oh my God, there's so much more to do, and it streamlines everything. It adds structure to the business, and it's really, really helpful.
Definitely, thank you for the sweet
I think it simplifies so much of your life, you know, like as a guy, as a person, I hate Excel sheets. I still remember as a marketer, my first job, I was asked to make an Excel sheet. I was so bored of making it, I made a presentation out of it. I legit showed an Excel sheet in a PPT. All right.
That's how I would do it.
Yeah, that's exactly. We're all creative people.
Yeah. So, and I think at this point of time, when the ecosystem is so dynamic, right? Because customers are evolving, their needs are evolving, the wants are evolving. And what is happening right now is that there is so much of West influence coming into the picture, right? In India, and especially, right? Like, you know, and right now the Indian flavors are going up because we want to make a mark for ourselves. But if you look at all the inspirations and anything is coming from the West, all right? So as an entrepreneur, it becomes very difficult to manage too many things at the same time. So having a tech involvement is a fabulous thing, because then, as if you understand, like right now everyone said, right, food is the forefront, right? Khana sahi hai to automatic public aa jayegi. So that's where the focus can be. And that is why to have a very strong backend is a must.
Important.
Is a must.
Michelle, I have a question for you. You've done a lot of non-mainstream marketing. Every time, you know, there's a trend going on, you always pivot from that. Where do you find your marketing trends? Like, how do you have this foresight? Because you've always been 2 steps ahead with Red Bull, with Budweiser, you know, even right now.
One of the things that's always helped me with that edge is that I like to watch people, not in a creepy way. But I like to watch people, right? I think it's very important to understand what makes them linger, what they're rejecting, what they're kind of leaning towards. And so when a lot of the brands come to us, even our own brands for that matter, it's very important to understand what the consumer wants.
Very crucial.
So for me, it's always been observing. Obviously, you know, there are so many. I'm not anti-trend. I'm just trend agnostic. And if something's working, okay, how can we make it our own? Because not a fan of cut, copy, paste at all.
Absolutely.
So that's. I don't know whether that answers your question. But it's
interesting. I want to extend from what you just said. You said that we have a lot of West influence. I actually want to counter that and say I think the Indian influence is really picking up. We've got this year we had like 4 of in 4 Indian bars in Asia's top 50 bars representing us this year. So like the culture is changing.
I agree with you. I don't disagree with him that we are inspired by, I think, trends from abroad. And I think one of the bigger trends was local sourcing, right? And that's something that a lot of these restaurants that you also mentioned or have or are trying to imbibe, but using our produce and our products. And I'm seeing that even in from an ingredient point of view, even on my website, like there's a lot more respect for Indian ingredients, which is great. and value for it. So like, I mean, I used to make this reference all the time. When you used to travel, you can see haldi doodh on a menu in a cafe somewhere, and it's like $7 a cup. And I remember as a kid, I used to pour it down my drain. Like, no one used to, when my mom used to give it to me, I didn't want it. But now I'm selling turmeric latte at Zama, let's be honest.
Yeah.
So it's very cool to see our culture being represented by us and not by someone else. And I think that's the upward trend that I'm seeing. So whether it's here or or abroad, I think we're owning the conversation a lot more.
Yeah.
To reply to what you said.
Yes.
I was waiting for it. I think it's a power play. What is happening right now is when we call it access to knowledge. All right. Now, even if you look at the Asia 50 best restaurants, right? Now, these restaurants are accessible to the creme de la creme of the society. But if you go to Bangkok, you go to Malaysia, you go to Vietnam, it's the road level. It's the road food. Like, you go there, they will blow your head. My point is, Indian flavors, where are they? How are they innovating their own ingredient or their finished product into our flavors? That is what trend setting is all about.
Right.
And that's where I come from. So the volumes are too different.
Yeah.
I'm not saying कि हम dead हैं, हम बढ़ रहे हैं.
So I don't want to interject, but what pisses me off, sorry, I like all this molecular food, all is pretty cute. Like, I'm sure the food is I get damn bloody impatient. I walk into the restaurant hearing this beautiful music, first courses come. Apparently we're doing this after. Please somehow.
We're getting
I like all the dishes coming together. I get damn hungry. I have this one bite and then I have to sit calmly. Let's talk. Let's have a conversation. Second course come after 1 hour. 5 hours of my time बर्बाद कर दिया यार.
That's where another important aspect which needs to be addressed is menu design. That is very important because that is make it break it.
Yeah, I agree.
Okay? Because जब आप मेनू डिजाइन करते हो ना, तो हम सोचते हैं कि यार थोड़ा प्यार, इजहार, ललकार.
When you say design, you mean the listing of the dishes?
Yes. Because क्या होता है ना? So I do consultations as well. So I get a lot of these new restaurateurs coming in. यार हमको restaurant खोलना है. I said ठीक है. करना क्या चाहते हो? पता नहीं. Okay, and then say ठीक है.
That is not so good. That's half the bandwagon.
Yeah, many we've worked on together.
And then what happens is when I tell them कि चलो आप brief मत भेजो.
Yeah.
आप एक मेनू बनाओ. So at least I have an idea. What is the direction you want to take? Is it sandwiches? It's like 3-step food out or something that way. They have. I will not take the name of the client. They had a menu of 135 dishes.
Yeah.
हमको ये करना है. That is where your restaurant fails because your menu defines your kitchen. So you know how much real estate you need, how much kitchen area you need, and that's how once your kitchen is done, that's how you know how many covers you can make.
Yeah.
It's always the reverse process.
So Arman, when you were deciding your menu, I'm sure you had more dishes than what's on the menu, right?
Yeah, 100%.
How did you shortlist? What was the criteria?
It's difficult, when things are like good, you just want to firstly. You also, when you do this, I mean, these are all homemade recipes, right? But I mean, a lot of it, let's say there are 40, 50 items that we've had over, let's say, so many years. The idea also when you're getting into a business is also to see certain, kind of assess. It's all for the customer at the end of the day. So we have to kind of, adapt to their needs. Constantly keep adapting. It's not about just creating a menu once and then the idea is that we'll adapt as per their taste as we go ahead. It's a new business, like I told you. So we're learning as we go ahead. So it's about 35, 40 items now, which is still large. I thought we would start about 20, 25. But it's very hard to get rid of certain things. And then we'll adapt as we go ahead. It's just going to be a process of constantly adapting to your customers' needs, wants, their feedback. And we're very open to every form of criticism because, we need to fail. We need to go up and down to really understand their needs. And we aren't here for a short stint. We want to, my one line is I want to feed the world. And the food that I've been fed by my grandparents, I want to share that love with the world. So, baby steps.
Delve into the business angle. So, Ankit, what would be the ideal inventory list to have a successful running business?
So, continuing on this menu curation and stuff. I think the concept of multi-cuisine only exists in India because like this 135 item list, like you go to a menu like or a restaurant where there's like 20 pages on it and it gives you choices of like everything from like Indian to continental to Asian. So that is something that we see is problematic on the business end of it, because again it's going to be so tough to control costs if you're sourcing like 500 700 ingredients, keeping them right. Everything has a shelf life, everything has expiries. So what we say is to concise menus, keep your hero products. Like I feel like every place should have its identity, its hero product, and focus on that and build on top of that. So then we look at the data and see what is selling, what is not selling, and help with that.
But also if you look at it like that, a lot of the restaurants which have a niche and a focus, they tend to last longer and do better than the ones who are just doing everything that can stick. Because similar to what you said, where someone just says, okay, I just want to open a restaurant, everyone's doing it, it's the cool thing to do, I'll own a restaurant, or I have one recipe and I want to do something with this, or someone told me I should partner with them, so I'm just doing it. But there was no real thought behind it, and there was no understanding of the entire F&B space, which is a mammoth to deal with if you don't come in with a little bit of expertise, understanding, or have someone who has that expertise advising you. So that being said, all these restaurants that are doing everything that can stick with 100 dishes on their menu, they don't tend to last, and they don't tend to do as well in terms of numbers as of course the ones with a niche or with a limited menu do.
And Ria, this also changes when you are doing a dine-in and a delivery. Your delivery strat has to be different, your dine-in strat has to be different. Your dine-in cannot be delivery and your delivery cannot be dine-in. So what happens is when a young entrepreneur, right, he tastes success, छोटू सा, in the 3 months or 4 months or 5 months, अब हम करेंगे delivery, and they shove that full menu into the delivery. तो ये भी नहीं चलता, वो भी नहीं चलता, and what happens is it's burning. The cash is burning.
You know, the thing is greed. I'm assuming this is also greed, right? You want to scale quickly. You want to start. I mean, I started this business 4 years ago, and I sat on a dining table in my house, like because it was home recipes. Me and my wife started like I was cooking in the kitchen, she was packing bags and sending it out. So really like bootstrapped on the table, and I was refusing to move out of that kitchen because I cannot feed people shit. You have to eat that authentic, like you said, my North Indian ghar ka recipes I have eaten consistently. So I rather serve 10 people, make them happy. And actually, I'm very lucky that in the last few months I have a great partner. It took me years to find the right ops partner to really, we had to scale, and obviously, it took me 2 years to really find the right operational partner to take this out at scale with my food being consistent in every city, every outlet. It's a company called Dil Foods, which we kind of partnered with recently. So it took time for me to make that decision and to really assess things, because you don't want to. You get that greed sometimes. Let's do this. Let's move. Make a rash decision.
Yeah, I know you had so many opportunities, and I used to keep thinking to myself, why is he letting it go? But now I get why.
But because you don't want to make that decision that's going to, like you said.
Just to add to what you're saying,
Just
to add to what you're saying, it is very important to treat dine-in and delivery in a very separate strategy.
Interesting point.
Very separate strategy, because audience reactions are different. Now the marketer side of me will talk. Your dine-in is an experience what you give.
Correct.
Before the food comes out. In delivery, it is all the nooshnash you do on social media. Because today, everybody wants to take a part of the brand home. Directly or indirectly, everybody wants to be a lifestyle brand. Everybody wants to, be, and that's what people are even looking at. कि मैं कब photo खींच के Instagram में डाल सकूँ. And that is why, for all my dine-in delivery consultations, what I said, sampling. Sampling karo.
No, you're right, but again, like you said earlier, right? The thing is, even if you're doing a delivery kitchen, yes, predominantly you're right, because it's all an experience in a restaurant. You come, it's the ambience, it's drinks. I mean, obviously that's a very high, the revenues are very high with alcohol in most restaurants, like, most of your popular ones. But it is the experience. But even with, and this is the thing, this is the question I had in my mind, because for me, I'm very hands-on with everything I do. I do everything myself first. Like you, I do everything, and I'm very hands-on with like the process, because that's my love. For me, the only one thing I miss in the delivery kitchen model is that customer interaction one-on-one. I like being with my customer physically. So I'm trying to bring that out through whether it's my packaging, certain experiences. Of course, it'll never be 100% like a restaurant, but trying to bring in that personal touch to my customer through every element of the food journey and the way it travels to the customer. So, I mean, when you were talking about those things, I mean, that holistic experience is super important.
It's very important.
And I don't want to lose that touch, I mean, of course, it's not physical, but I'm trying to be as physical as I can, whether it's, through the packaging, through the notes, whether it's through my food, the storytelling, social media,
but
all
people
of that.
remember that, and it ties your entire story together. So people do remember that, whether it's a delivery or whether it's sitting in a restaurant, people remember the experience as well. Once you've nailed the food is obviously number one, but then the rest of it comes into play and also matters, right?
Yeah.
So
Absolutely.
as much as you can do to make that customer feel like you thought of them, it's always worthwhile.
I think you started with the whole idea of packaging first, design.
Yeah.
It was very,
For me, it was only delivery. There's no dining.
Yeah.
So the idea was you eat with your eyes first.
Yeah.
So how can I convey my story with the packaging?
Yeah.
I think that was the most important part.
and
for
you've
me.
evolved that to make sure that it's not your paper cups and it's not.
Yeah, I think that was the idea for Mimi's when I started.
Does that raise your cost a lot?
It does, but I think it's worth it. The
Right.
perception and the brand image that comes through to the consumer through the packaging was very important. And I think that stayed with everyone. Everyone really appreciates it.
Yeah.
So I'm glad I took that step.
When we started off, I used to get a lot of feedback saying it's too expensive for a ride. But
I
that
still get
complaint
that.
has
I
stopped
still get
because...
that.
Oh, you still get that?
Of course, I still get that, yeah.
No, I just feel like people have started admiring the experience that comes with it because your toasties are still crisp even after like 2 weeks of being in the fridge.
When you can justify the expense, then it's not a problem anymore. When you can't justify the expense, then it becomes a problem.
We were just talking outside. I think a lot of marketers are going to hate me. I will repeat that line again. All marketing spends are not sales.
I cannot resonate more than
Please.
Yeah.
Whatever money you're spending is not guaranteed that it's going to...
There's a reason there's a sales department and a marketing department. They're separate.
Correct. It's separate things. So what Mimi is doing with the kind of packaging and everything is marketing.
Yes.
Something which stays back at home.
Yeah, there is sales, marketing, PR. These are all separate departments for a reason. Everything cannot be associated with just a direct ROI. That is definitely, I resonate with that very hard.
We should put that in contracts so clients understand that also.
What is the one thing that you know as an industry insider that's a myth or maybe very specific to what you are doing? Bust a myth for us.
I feel like the biggest myth that I have seen which is pertaining to us is that inventory management is optional. But like whenever you're looking at a business, whether it's inventory management, cost accounting, anything, it's something that needs to be a necessity, especially when you're growing, right? Like you need to be in controls. You need to make sure your profit margins remain so that I feel like one of the biggest reasons that some places that you would feel are successful and they shut down is because they cannot manage their costs, their inventory and stuff like that. So that's a myth that we've seen and we're trying to bust that myth. Yeah.
There's so many. Where do I start? But I think one is that obviously if you go to a PR agency and everybody thinks that you do one big launch and then you're set for life, that's a big no-no. It works for some. It happens to work for some, but it's not because you do one big launch and then you expect like that is enough for me to sustain my restaurant in the long run. It's obviously not. There's so many factors that come into play. Another major myth that I think we've always sort of tried to bust is people think that if you go to a PR agency, that's all you need and you don't need to pay anybody else and you just pay a PR agency and you're done. You're sorted for life. But that's also not true because there will always be things that you need to, create and ideate and have things that are happening in your restaurant to support the PR efforts efforts as well, which require expenses from time to time. And then the third is that they come to us saying, when will you give us a Vogue? That is like the first thing that they will come saying, when will we get a Vogue or a Condé Nast? And it's just like, that's not how this works, right? It's a constant level of understanding the brand, positioning it right, storytelling. So there's so many myths in the PR space that I wish I could tell people to, not have these preconceived notions when they come to a PR agency.
I think for me, there are two things. One is something that I'm directly doing, right? I think when a lot of restaurants and a lot of chains, they assume that they can only partner with brands that are already supplying products to them, which is why so many restaurants and bars are only working in the alcohol or the beverage space. But literally, like right now, Impresario works with brands across multiple categories, right? From an auto to a cosmetics brand to a tourism board, because the consumer is the same. It's just about what you're trying to which brand is trying to connect with them and how. So that's definitely one. And I think the second big myth is that culture and brand, culture and experience is just for operations and service to take care of, and brand and culture is something only marketing is responsible for, but it's actually, it's something that intertwines.
Yeah.
And if the guy or the girl who's greeting you at the door is not feeling or imbibing what your brand stands for, it's never going to translate to the guest, so it's not just a marketing or a PR thing that needs to be focused on. But yeah, I think these two are the two main ones that I wanted to talk about.
Interesting.
Mine might be a very narrow lens, and of course it's my lens and the people that we work with limitedly in the F&B side, because I don't work with that many restaurants, but the ones that I work with, while food costs are very important, and I think they've all talked about keeping costs minimum, keeping an eye on costs, at least the people that we've worked with, they see the value in the ingredient, not necessarily keeping the food costs low and getting the cheapest product, but getting the nicest or the best product out there that they can get. And there are two sides of this. One is, of course, it can help with the storytelling, the branding, the marketing, etc. But two is the quality of your food, I think, much like he's saying, or even the fact that you can get a batch of something and not have that much wastage in your kitchen and other aspects of it. And I feel like, at least touch with the people that we've worked with, have been very successful, even though they're buying Zama products, which are not cheap. And I think that's because they know what they're trying to buy it for. So it's not like they're buying everything from me. It's very rare.
Yeah.
But like strawberries are coming. So, they maybe buy that because otherwise, and you're paying 2x. I'm not lying about how much you're paying, but you don't have that much wastage. It's really fresh delivery. And their product just tastes nice, and the strawberries are nicer than the market strawberries. So just a small example, maybe of like a myth potentially, that it's not just about keeping your food costs minimum. It's about getting value out of your food.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Yes.
Myth. I think understanding who your target audience is, that is very important. It doesn't matter how flashy a restaurant looks. It doesn't matter how big your restaurant looks. It doesn't matter where you're opening your restaurant. Okay, you might have your restaurant at the busiest part of the city, all right? But you should know who your real audience is, which is your bread and butter. One, that is one. Second is a lot of these restaurants, right? Because they follow a thick rule book of marketing. I don't know who has written that, but my target audience is 18 to 25. मैं बाकी सबको छोड़ दूँगा. No, your brand has to be a fluid. It has to be very fluid. It needs to have one narrative to a particular segment, a narrative to the corporates and your office goers and stuff, and a narrative to the only female category, different age group and stuff. And that's how you make it a very busy product for yourself. And that is very important when you do your homeworks. खोलने के बाद मत सोचो. When you are planning to open it, think about it and then you put in your money. That's the biggest, another myth which I want to talk about.
Yeah, very true.
I would think perception of being a pastry chef and starting a dessert brand. A lot of people are doing it. The next gen. I'll go to a course. I'll come back. I'll bake cakes. It's all fun and sprinkles. It's not that at all. I think 14-hour days in the kitchen, burning your hands, while baking the cake, which is only one aspect. Looking at accounts, looking at logistics, looking at packaging, distribution. After a point, it's like 500 Excel sheets. Ice cream someone else is making, but it's just like everything else that comes with it is not as fun. It's a struggle. It's a lot of hard work. So yeah, I think perception from what people think it is as opposed to what it actually is very, very different.
Yeah.
I think I got clarity of thought from what you're saying. What I meant to say actually with the whole myth thing is like, the thing is, just because you know when you come from a film family, there's a lot of people are starting celebrity brands today.
Yeah.
All those things, people without really understanding the process of food, really having that passion of food. I think that association is just because people are starting celebrity brands with their face and attaching it. For me, I eat, breathe, and sleep food since I was born. Literally, I was in the kitchen also when I was 5. This family is known for film, but food behind closed doors is what I was trying to bring out through my film as well. So I think the thing is that myth is that it's just a association of face or family, but it's not. It's way beyond I'm very hands-on with every single thing, with every customer, with every detail and nuance. And I think that's a myth that I mean, it's a personal thing which I wish to share, is that in this particular field, and you guys would agree, you're obviously my seniors in this field. In terms of number of years, you cannot, and it's not about the restaurant business only, it's any business, you have to be hands-on and on top of it. Constantly till the brand is alive, and I mean, you want to live beyond your own generation as well. So, and I've seen that in friends of mine who are either from the restaurant world, the kitchen world, or any other business, right? So the idea is just to be on top of it, and that's the myth. I'm completely on top of it because I'm a hands-on person.
No, I agree. I mean, it's really nice when you see my reels in Kashmir, going to the farm. It takes a bloody long time to get there. A lot of hours in a car. Sometimes I go and I don't know where I'm staying.
Like I'm like, wow, her job takes her to the mountains. She's breathing fresh air.
You don't know, like I've not eaten like in 14 hours. I've just been driving aimlessly around.
Can I ask a question? What is the most unique ingredient or something that you
I had that question as well.
Or tried in?
So in all honesty, I've not tried it yet, but I just sourced something for Chef Varun at Mask, and it's a really funny story. He sent me an Instagram picture. Get this. No idea what it is. It's basically a wild mushroom somewhere in Northeast called, and you get the cultivated version, which is cordyceps that people use for like medicinal performance mushrooms, but this is a wild variety and you have to go search for it. I found somebody, I had to pay them upfront, didn't know if like I got duped, would I get it. After 15 days he collected 10 grams. The price was absurd. I'm not going to talk about how much it was.
Please say the price. Come on.
It's insane. It's like 2,500 rupees per gram.
Per gram.
Wow. Because they were gone for 15 days. And then I sent it, and I have a picture of how it looked, and he sent it to me in like a really nice fancy bottle, and I sent it to Chef Varun, and I was like, okay, what do you want to do with it? He said, I don't know. Well, okay, at least I guess post about it, and then that's what the post has gone up, and it's like really fun, and we've gotten like ideas and stuff, and it's just a funny story. So I don't know what it tastes like, but that's the most recent wild sourcing story. And usually I would go for it. I just didn't know where to go, and it's crazy.
That's a crazy ask.
But like otherwise also, like we do a lot of like from a chef's side, it's a lot of fun because people only message me when they want stuff like this. No one's asking me like, oh Shri, I want apples. No one wants apples from Zama. Very rarely. But it's more this stuff. Or like really good quality ingredients, but then that we already have, like you said, like coconut sugar or strawberry.
Michelle, I have a question for you, specifically for you because you're doing this offbeat stuff. Food is one thing, but you also mentioned that, all your brand collaborations and your community, they're not separate from, you can't just be like, because I'm in the food space, I will only associate with food brands or, go to that, because the consumer is still common.
Correct.
Can you elaborate more on that? Give us some ideas. Like there are people on the table, like, what would you recommend for, all of us here?
I'll have to spend a little bit of time to give you like
just from the top of
recommendations,
your
but
head, if you can elaborate
I'll
more
tell
on
you
this.
very, very simply put, I started talking about the coffee raves, right? I hate them. But like, I detest the term coffee rave.
Is that a controversial thing?
When
You see, a lot of my
It's
friends keep
debatable,
telling me that a coffee rave is not a rave. You don't know what a rave really is.
Correct. And then
It's
we basically built this IP called Jumpstart. It's called the Social Jumpstart. And the idea behind it was that we were noticing that people were changing how they socialize. And it was becoming more about, connecting to like-minded people, connecting to people who had similar interests. And the whole world is kind of going towards this sort of transition towards wellness and health and all of that, right? And so we built Jumpstart and we said, okay, we'll start bringing people together. We'll start working with micro communities. Let's give them a space. So not necessarily that they do everything at a social, but they can, do a run, do something outside and then come hang out, socialize at social. And in the process, we ended up opening a new category of partnerships. So you'd never imagine, but social now works with brands like Isopure. You'd never imagine that we would work with people like a wellness brand, because people have a perception of us being a certain type of brand, but this whole new category of partnerships it's a serious revenue driver for us. But it's not just about how you would imagine, people consuming protein just in a protein shake. So when you come to an Isopure powered Jumpstart event, yes, you get to try the product as a sample or whatever, but that entry fee that you pay, it's a cover charge essentially, and you get to try a protein-powered dish from the menu, So there's a custom menu that we've done for it. There are challenges that you take part in. So you have that sort of competitive sort of situation happening within the event. And then obviously there are giveaways and things like that. Like a lot of people assume that, doing a brand collaboration means you just give away free shit. I don't know if I was supposed to say that, but I said it. Or, slapping a tent card with a logo on a table. I also hate tent cards. I have issues with a lot of things.
Sorry, what's a tent card?
It's
really stupid
one
question.
of those tacky table types that people put on tables.
Just to give the brand collaborator like some branding on tables.
Yeah, and I mean, there are so many other ways that a brand can, connect with the end consumer that doesn't necessarily need to be a table tent or a sticker on a wall,
We did the same thing when we were working with like Numa. When we launched Numa, we basically tied up with Supercars Club, where we had all of them come in with their luxury cars and have breakfast there. And that was a, really cool content moment because it just aligned well with the restaurant and the vibe and those kind of things. And the same thing with Super You. When we launched Super You, which is Ranveer Singh's protein bar, we aligned with runners clubs and because although it's a better version of a chocolate, right? We're not calling it like a protein bar. It's a better version of a chocolate with protein in it. But at the same time, it aligns with people who are in the fitness space. Ranveer aligns with people in the fitness space. So we would do runners clubs. We would do variety of things that weren't necessarily in the same sort of slew as Super You or as protein, but would align. So I think those cross collaborations make a big difference because you're reaching your target audience in a very indirect way, but it's the same audience and you're not hitting them hard.
Community building, essentially, to an
you have
extent, right? But authentically.
Yeah, with different product ranges, not just the food, because the minute it's too hard hitting with just direct promotion. So just to bring in other brands, and I think social does that really well.
Yeah, I mean, we've worked with Maybelline and Spotify and everyone at this point now. So I think it's just about finding the most authentic way to collaborate with a brand where it doesn't seem like they've crashed the wrong party basically. It happens a lot.
Yeah.
So
very interesting.
Lovely.
I'm going to offend someone for sure.
Riya, my neck is hurting. Have you ever seen a tennis match?
Exactly what's happening.
Yeah, bang in the middle.
For a moment, I was like, इसको दिख रहा है क्या?
Sorry.
Back is too much hurting. फिर मैं ऐसे करके I think ये कैमरा में अच्छा नहीं आएगा. ठीक है, then I'm sitting like this. Then after that I'm sitting like this.
I like my spot.
Yeah, you have a good spot. No, but I don't know why I didn't send you pictures of this place earlier. I'm not even an art director or anything, and I'm planning the seating and I'm getting pictures, videos, trying to figure it out.
It's wild, man. It's too good. It's too good. Yeah. Just send me an ice pack for my neck.
I'll send you for a nice massage after.
Very good. Riya, I'm going to bill you. I'm hungry now, man. I'm going to really bill you. I'm very hungry.
You're supposed to be feeding everyone.
Chalo.
No, today we didn't feed you.
Okay, cut.
Sorry, no.
Okay, no. So on a end note, does anyone have anything like a last and final closing note?
We love you.
Gyan.
Thanks for coming.
Let's eat.
This was fun. Unscripted.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you for putting this together.
Yes.
Really, thank
There
you.
are some things you might have to cut out of the
Yeah.
video.
There is, yes. I will micro.
Mostly Michelle and Arman's comments.